Okay, so let's talk about what we did in science class today. You can always find that out by finding the lesson plan of the week that's posted in the Google Classroom and clicking on it. And if you do that, it will take you to this screen where very at the top, it talks about the expectation for this week is for you to do the results section. But before we did that, we had a Google form where I asked you guys, what is it that you have? Do you have data? Are you going to get data from your classmate? Or if you are going to be using the sample data, and I'll talk about that in a second, and or doing the alternative assignment. Then I actually told you guys that what I expect you guys to do is to finish the results section. But before we spend some time going over norms and the things that we talked about in the previous videos of of the playlist that this video is a part of. But finally, we actually got to the results section. So what I told you to do is copy the questions from the final product guide, which are also on slide 32 of the presentations that I was using during class, and copy that into the results box of your final product. Once you've done that, go question by question, delete it if you have to, and we actually answer the questions, do what it says to do, right? So, and that's the work for the week, to turn in the results section by Sunday. So if you go to the next page, I kind of break that down in more detail. You can actually go to the final product guide and find the instructions for what you're supposed to do. But on the email I sent you, and on the video, and on the classroom, and on the slides that I used, I posted the questions. These questions, the questions from the results section, right? So I just copy that, then I open my final product, I paste that into the results section, and then I work on it, right? So we'll talk about what that means, work on it, in a second here. But anyhow, going back to the expectations for today, the first thing I actually need you to do is if you have not yet finished the introduction or method section, make sure you fix those in accordance to what I said for you guys to finish it, and then hit resubmit on your product. As far as the results section, start by saying what were your results. Give me a data table with labels and all the other requirements that data tables are supposed to have, right? Units. Then make a graph, just like we did in class when we practiced it. Finally, talk about patterns on your data. What does your data say about your hypothesis? What are there differences between both trials, both conditions? Explain those things. Finally, explain if what those differences mean. Were your predictions matched what actually happened? What does that mean about your hypothesis? And of course, do some math to actually, with your work, to actually explain that. So you could do that with averages, which is adding all the trials up and divided by the number of trials you have, or you can do ratios, how many beans germinated over genes that didn't germinate in each of the conditions, or you can do percentage of beans that germinated, you can do range, you can do median, all of the things that we discussed in class before the break. And remember, if you don't know how to do any of this, come to my office hours in the morning and I will help you with it, okay? Finally, let's talk about the sample data. So if you click on the link for the sample data, which is available in the classroom, or it's available also in the summit on the unit overview page of this project, you can find data that you can use for your lab, even if you don't have data of your own, okay? Or alternatively, you can finish that assignment that we were working on the last Thursday that we had school, the one about aluminum versus plastic and the heating of them. Most of us already did tables, already did graph. If you finish that, it's the same cog skill of the results section of the project. So you can turn that in to me by email or take a picture of it and send it to me, attach the assignment in the Google Classroom, any of those options. As long as I get that, that can also count for the cog skills. So if you don't have anything done on your project so far, but you need a good grade for an interpreting data cog skill still, that is something that you can do instead, right? So and the sample data, by the way, has a column that says control and a column that says experimental data. The control could be the thing that you didn't change, the standard, just a comparison. And then the independent variable data is the one for the change that you actually made. If you have any questions about this, just run it by me and I'll work you through it. But basically, you can either use the sample data or your own data or do the alternative assignment in order to satisfy this week's requirements of the interpreting data cog skill and analyzing results. But make sure you copy these into the results box of your final product if you're going to do it that way, and submit that as soon as you get it done. Come for office hours if you need help. That's the work of this week. Don't forget to hit submit when you are done. Office hours in the morning. See you then.